Now welcome to another edition of News from Naboo with Thor Sliding Takes. And let's get right to the news.
Alright, we're continuing to get ready for the Ahsoka series that is coming up. So let's kind of talk about the things we do and do not know, and maybe a little speculation about what we're going to be seeing in the upcoming series.
Sounds like fun.
I figured you'd be game. In recent interviews, Dave Filoni has kind of been mulling some of the key elements of the Ahsoka story for a few years, is kind of what he revealed. He said that to tell the full story, he needed a new challenge. That's one of the reasons he wanted to bring this to live action and not continue Ahsoka as an animated project.
A new personal challenge or a new challenge for Ahsoka, is you meaning?
He wanted to stress the importance of his character, and by moving it into the live action median, he is opening her up to more audience. Because a lot more people will watch the live-action project than are going to watch the animated projects.
Okay.
Even though the animated projects are good,
well, some of them are
Bad
fantastic.
Batch has been pretty good. This last season was definitely worth the watch.
It definitely ended with a bang, and it had its episodes for sure.
Mm-hmm. Well, to start that out, he tested the waters in Mandalorian Season 2, and we saw Ahsoka kind of as a pivotal little part of a story, kind of moving things along, getting Grogu from point A to point Luke. And it planted the seed for the spinoff. Fans who know the character were really excited to see her, and I think a few people were like, "Who's this chick? We got some alien going on here." It's nice.
You're curious, who's this alien with white lightsabers and...
Right, it's a Jedi that we're seeing after the Empire has fallen.
Yes. And you're like, where does she come from?
Mm-hmm. Why wasn't she in the sequel?
I thought Luke was the Jedi who comes back. How is she a Jedi? So many questions if you have not seen previous shows.
Another thing I really like that the Ahsoka series is doing is it's pushing aliens back into the forefront of the Star Wars universe by bringing us a Togruta and a Twi'lek in live action.
It's about time we get a little more alien love.
Mm-hmm. I think Skeleton Crew's going to push that even further because one of the main characters, one of the kids, is supposed to be the same species as Max Rebo.
I keep getting the impression that Skeleton Crew's going to do some really weird things and take us to some weird places.
Maybe that's good.
Oh, I think that is good. I think in that respect, whether or not the show is good or not, we'll have to see. But I do think it is a good idea to kind of branch out and explore maybe different aspects or parts of the galaxy. I think the Mandalorian does that to a degree, but it's all Outer Rim where everything is dusty and dirty and there's a handful of people here and there. I hope we go to some kind of more larger exotic worlds.
We're going to start out at the suburb planet and then branch out from there.
No, you know what I mean, though. Yeah, everything in the Mandalorian has this weird way of kind of just looking and feeling the same.
Mm-hmm. Until they go to somewhere like Plaisir, which is so far away from everything else. You're like,
good point,
what is this?
But Old West, that's what they're going
the feel
for.
They
Spaghetti
wanted,
Western, sure. But, it would be nice to get something a little more exotic and different.
Where's Felucia? Let's go there.
I would love to go there, yeah.
Ooh, wouldn't it be cool if they could revisit Dathomir in live action?
I think we have a shot at seeing that in Ahsoka, right? With
I kind of
some Night Sister background, perhaps.
Be neat. But back to what we were talking about here. We don't have a plot specifics, of course, of the new show. With the trailers, we can kind of break down a little bit of this and that's what we might be seeing going on. We know that the trailers are generally going to keep to the first few episodes of the series. They don't like to show you too far along, and thank goodness they don't.
Yeah, here's the final shot. It's Ezra, oh my god.
What is he doing there?
But we do kind of know the plot, right? We know we're looking for Ezra.
That's the general. We know we're looking for Ezra. We know we're interested in what in the world Thrawn might be up to.
Yes. I think he's the bigger piece of the puzzle that we're going to uncover here.
Everyone seems to be looking for Grand Admiral Thrawn. And the key to finding him is Morgan Elsbeth, who we believe has been imprisoned by the New Republic. The trailers have us with that scene with Balon and Shin attacking a New Republic ship. I'm going to assume that they're trying to set her free.
Well, we know the New Republic isn't good at keeping prisoners, right?
No, and we saw Shin's angry squirrel energy, so...
Well,
I think that they're going to succeed.
Well, we've seen, prisoner ships, and we've also seen that an old Imperial shuttle was used to transport Moff Gideon for reasons.
For reasons, yeah.
And this, it seems like Morgan Elsbeth is getting the royal treatment. She's getting a larger cruiser of some sort.
Maybe they learned their lesson because they haven't been able to hold on to prisoners. So they're like, we obviously need a bigger ship with more staff.
Yes.
And then Balon and Shin show up and they're like, oh, come on.
Yeah. Force users show up and screw up that idea. Yeah, so now we just got a bunch of our people killed. Should have just put them on a ship and sent them afloat, or her afloat.
We do know from the trailer that they're going to end up on a mysterious planet and that Morgan Elsbeth is going to use some kind of a map. It looks like a giant star map that will lead them to Thrawn.
It's the other half of the map to Luke. She had it the whole time.
Oh my goodness. I know that there's also scenes in the trailer, and I believe more in the first one, of like Ahsoka and Balon and Ahsoka and the new Inquisitor, Marok, fighting in that same area on that same planet. I think even we got one with Shin and Sabine fighting on that same planet, which means that would happen sometime towards the beginning.
Yeah, that's what I was just going to say. It's interesting that's... I wouldn't be surprised if that's kind of the culmination of the first 2 episodes. Mm-hmm. And that kind of sets the stage for whatever else is going to happen, which I hope is the case. I hope that everything we've seen, more or less, is in those first 2 episodes, and we have no idea what the back 6 are going to look like.
That would be lovely. It's a lovely thought. I don't know if
it is. Because I just can't see them kind of spoiling like the end kind of battles. I mean, I can, but something tells me Filoni is going to be, assuming he has control over these trailers, which he might technically not. But if he does, I'm going to assume he's keeping a tight lid on what's really going on.
Mm-hmm. We also know from a combination of the Rebels TV show and the Star Wars timeline book that Ahsoka and Sabine got together to look for Ezra. The ending of Rebels, they went to look for Ezra together. I'm assuming that is when they did their master and apprentice
some kind of training happens,
thing. And then they separated because she went on alone to find Morgan Elsbeth and then comes back to Sabine.
So who breaks up with who? I mean, she says she walked away from Ahsoka.
She walks away, but...
Ahsoka said she walked away from Sabine, but why?
Exactly, why? Why did they separate, and why is she coming back for her?
Good questions for, well, hopefully the show.
We know Ahsoka's going to visit a Jedi temple, and that looks like Morgan Elsbeth's goons are going to head her off there.
Yeah. I'm curious why are they looking for Ahsoka because Ahsoka is looking for Thrawn and they're worried that she's going to find him first?
Maybe they're not specifically looking for Ahsoka. Maybe she's on the trail of whatever they're on the trail to as well, and they're racing to who gets there first.
Yeah, good point.
Maybe they need to find a wayfinder. It could be, it could be though.
No.
They could be needing a specific navigational tool that Ahsoka's on the trail of, and so are they.
It could be because
she kind of interrogated Morgan Elsbeth to find where's Thrawn. I'm sure she got some information.
Yeah.
And now that Morgan Elsbeth is free again, she's going after the same information she gave Ahsoka.
Yes, we do know once you get into the unknown regions, quote unquote, you have a lot of, spatial anomalies. It's hard to navigate through there. If you read your Thrawn novels, you know about the chaos. And so it could be they need some kind of, I don't want to call it wayfinder, but some sort of wayfinder device to get there.
We know they're going to meet up with Hera because she's obviously in the trailers as well. And there's that official Lego set with her still in charge of the Ghost with her son, Jason. We don't know who's going to be babysitting Jason, but we assume that Hera's going to go with them to look for Ezra and help fill in the pieces of the puzzle. Not to mention, we do have the scenes in the trailer of her kind of debating the members of the Senate. Maybe she's warning them about Thrawn's imminent return, and maybe they're just not taking her seriously, or because they're so busy rebuilding, they can't focus their energy where they need to. Because she's talking to Mon Mothma, maybe she's getting frustrated. We don't exactly know what her part of the story is going to be.
Do you think Hera goes with them? I don't know that Hera's going with them. I mean, Hera's a general at this point. She's got a lot of other responsibilities.
She does, and she's got her son, and a robot chopper.
Well, he's a droid.
I want to assume we're going to get all of them back together, and if Hera does not go with them then, maybe she'll go talk to Zeb and they'll come after.
I could certainly see a moment. Not that you would ever want to reunite a past crew or team together in a movie or a show. Not like you'd ever want I don't know, Han, Luke, and Leia, and Lando and some of the others on the screen at the same time. And yes, I'm totally being sarcastic. Mm-hmm. But I can certainly imagine a moment where we kind of get the original team minus Kanan together again. The original Rebels Ghost crew, I mean.
Also, of course, we've got Ezra Bridger. When are we going to see him in the series? I mean, we'll see the hologram. I'm pretty sure we'll see that pretty early. Are we going to find him before the end of the series so we can kind of get a story from him about what has happened? Or is he going to be the very MacGuffin Easter egg at the end? Look, we found him. And cut.
I think there's 2 ways to play it. There's either you find him relatively early, and either way, something's going to be up with him, right? We're going to learn something when we find Ezra. He's not just going to be, hey guys, so glad you found me. Let's go home. Either you find him fairly early, or you find him episode 8, the final episode of the season.
Right.
I don't think there's really an in-between. I don't think you're going to find him 6 or 7. You're going to find him way at the end or kind of earlier than you expect, and then something springboards from there for the rest of the season.
I mean, we've got Thrawn coming in. When Timothy Zahn writes Thrawn, he kind of describes him more as a misunderstood anti-hero. But Filoni refers to him more of as a straight-up villain in the New Republic era.
I don't like this.
This is an argument of point of view, though. The Zahn novels are told from Thrawn's point of view.
Well, sure,
of course, he's not seeing himself as a bad guy.
He's
seeing himself as a goal-driven for a purpose.
But he's not a bad guy. I mean, again, I suppose it does depend on your point of view to a degree, but he's not really presented as, like, this evil guy for the sake of being evil. He's not Darth Vader.
No, he's not evil for the sake of being evil, but you could definitely view him as a bad guy if you're on the wrong side of his path.
Well, sure, if you're on the other side of him, you certainly see him as a pretty bad dude because he's beating you all the time.
So
and he's doing it for the Empire. Though he's not really doing it for the Empire. He's doing it for the Chiss. But yes, go on.
But to sum up some of the major questions I think we still have going into the series, some things I would love to see answers to. Marok. Does Marok have ties to Balon or possibly Ahsoka? The Inquisitor, they're hanging around. Does Marok have motivations, or is that just like we threw him in on the side? And well, he's supposed to just be some sort of a mercenary.
That's kind of. I hope there's more to that. I mean, it does seem that like Balon is looking or wants power or something. I hope it's not just like we hired these guys and they're like kind of Jedi-ish and Sith-ish and Force users. No, I hope there's some motivations and something interesting to do with them.
I also want to, of course, have answers to what happened after the Battle of Lothal, when they disappeared, Ezra and Thrawn, into wild space. Where did they go? What have they been doing?
I think we
Are they getting back, or are they stuck there and then they have to be gone and retrieved by people from the outside?
It could be interesting. I mean, we've kind of assuming it's going to be find Ezra and that's when we see him. It could actually be that we will see from Ezra and Thrawn's point of view at some point.
Very well could be.
Kind of an enemy mine, the old movie, for those who know it, you know it, where they kind of have to work together to survive. I've kind of thrown that out there. So it could be, here we are 10 years after they disappeared, and they've kind of become friends. They've survived together.
It could be, but it doesn't have to be, because
it could
show up there with an army.
Yeah, you got a point.
Just
but it's never a bad idea to have a Jedi on your side.
We also want to know why Ahsoka and Sabine split up. What does Thrawn want? What is his motivation now that the Empire is gone?
We do. I mean, this is where the real sticky point gets, because we do know from the Thrawn novels that the Chiss are worried about the Grisk. That is like the kind of the main.
He's been gone all this time, so we don't even know what's happened on that.
We don't. But exactly, neither does Thrawn. So Thrawn could be very worried that, like, what's going on with my people? What's going on with the Ascendancy? Are they at war with the Grisk? Have they defeated the Chiss Ascendancy? So, I mean, that's going to be a really interesting thing, because if that is not Thrawn's motivation, then you've basically taken Timothy Zahn's newer novels and kind of swept him under the rug.
Because it's interesting, because we know that the Imperial Remnant are waiting for Thrawn to return because he's going to be their new leader. Does he even want to be their new leader? Does he need them? Or is he going to lead them off back to his home to see if they can use the remnants to fight the Grisk?
Yeah, there's a lot of questions with that. Like I said, that's kind of the sticking point right now. I'm very curious to see what they do with that.
And the final question, how are the events of this show going to shape the Star Wars universe? Because obviously, depending on the scope and scale, this will affect Mando going forward. This could be some effect we see in Skeleton Crew. Bringing a character like Thrawn in is something that could definitely affect all of Star Wars.
Well, it should, right? I mean, he shouldn't be just used just to make a season of a show or anything like that. He should be. He's a grand character. He's a legacy character from the EU. So I don't want him to just be brought in for the sake of, we're going to do a season of a show and then we're going to move on. Mm-hmm. But I mean, I don't expect them to do that. I think Thrawn is your main antagonist of this whole kind of time period. I see him being the main antagonist of the upcoming Filoni movie. I can't imagine they would not use him, especially if he's well received by the kind of the more casual fan who doesn't know much about Thrawn in this show. Of course, you're gonna ride that and all the way to the movie, right? Well, at least I hope so.
Well, let's move on to New This Week in Star Wars, etc. On Wednesday, we have for comics Star Wars number 37, and we're finishing off the Return of the Jedi one-shot series with Max Rebo.
Can hardly wait.
Yes, this one's kind of cover how Max Rebo and the band kind of have their own plans on how to deal with a mobster like Jabba. Apparently they must not like him either. But this issue does bookend our Jabba's Palace one-shots. It's going to be leading directly into Return of the Jedi. So this will literally walk right up into the show.
Yep, right to their playing their fancy number.
Well, they're making plans to get rid of Jabba, apparently.
Apparently, well,
they can make all the plans they want.
Luke and company will take care of that for him.
Leia took care of Jabba.
Leia actually does it, but I think he would have... Huttslayer Leia, yes.
All right. And this is a very quiet week, I think, for the most part, because now we just are moving on to Thursday, our prelude to Ahsoka series, going over characters you may or may not be familiar with. Heading into the show, this week we are featuring Ahsoka.
Totally on Thursday.
Totally on Thursday.
Yeah.
I said Thursday. It's going to be Thursday.
It's going to be Thursday.
I don't care if I don't sleep. It's going to be Thursday.
It'll be Friday.
And then we've got voice chat at 8 p.m. Central Time.
But for now, that's all we got for you this time. Now it's your turn to take to the comments below and tell us what you think of any and all of today's news. And let's talk some Star Wars. And so until next time, thanks for watching.